Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to the Dice Tower. This is going to be an interesting, the next 3 or 4 weeks are going to be interesting as we go along and do different things. So let me explain a little bit about what's going on here at the Dice Tower. First of all, I'm not here. I know I'm here, but I'm not going to be here when this airs. I'm in Korea as we speak, I hope. With my wife, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, and then we're on our way to ConCon, a convention in China. So if you're in China, fantastic. We're going to get to see you in next weekend, which is when that's going to happen. So that being said, I'm not going to be in the office this week, but we're still going to have things going on. Roy and Z will be returning from Origins, and we'll be picking up the slack tomorrow with Testing Tuesday, and there's going to be various live events throughout the week that the guys will be running without me. My reviews and stuff are going to be going up, so I got everything pre-recorded, so you'll be able to see different things as the week goes by. And then next week, I'll be back at the very beginning of the week, and we'll be jumping into so many things going on as we prepare for Dice Tower Con. It is coming, and I'm excited. So with that being said, though, let's get this show started. Okay, so let's start with things that I found on the internet. Remember, links to everything I'm about to talk to are down below. And if you have anything interesting that you find, send it to me at tom@dicetower.com. So first of all, in sad news, James Mathe of Minion Games has passed away. This was a sudden surprise. I'm not really sure of all the details, but James Mathe was a very, very widely known person in the board game industry. He did a lot. He owned several stores. He's since sold them, but he started Minion Games, which has made games like Manhattan Project Energy Empire. He's worked with designers. He was very involved in the Kickstarter scene, was in charge of several Facebook groups, really helped out a lot of people. He was a larger-than-life personality. I've run across him at conventions and such for the past 15 years probably, just run across him in various ways. He was a very straight, direct person to people, but he also was constantly seeking to improve the hobby and to make it grow, and he will be missed. So I found some interesting different YouTube videos on the internet. So we'll start with, I found 3-minute board games. This is their top 10 hidden gem board games. So you can find that on the internet. I always like to look at people's top 10 anything. And speaking of which, Slicker Drips, who does some great video reviews, did his top 10 games of all time. What are those games? Are they worthy? Check out his review there. There's a couple designer diaries on Board Game Geek. Again, I like reading these. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is where a designer will go on and talk about how they made a game to where it is. First, we have Caravan, which is the newest game from Rio Grande, and how that game came about. And then how Tiefe Taschen became Good Critters. Of course, I'm a little biased towards this one, since Good Critters is a Dice Tower Essentials game. But if you want to see how that process came about, you can read that. I also found some really cool do-it-yourself dice trays. I'm a big fan of dice trays. I know we're called the Dice Tower because of Dice Towers, but I actually use dice trays about as much as I use dice towers. Can you roll your dice in a tray? These look really pretty. And then, and this is kind of this is the last thing I got today. There's an after-school dice club anime show. So it's called After-School Dice Club. It's not out in English yet. I think they're translating and it'll be out sometime next year. But this is about some girls who get together after school in a board game store and play board games. And games that you may have heard of. This is like, when I came across this, I was like, really? What? It's just interesting. So you can see the trailer for this. Again, you might recognize some of the games and all. And so I don't know if the show's any good or if it's, something that I would be interested in watching, but I found that to be a fascinating thing. All right, let's keep moving.
Randy and Ellen, we game together.
I guess I'm Randy.
I'm Ellen. Welcome to We Game Together. Randy, can we get a cat? We only have 4 kids, 2 adults and 2 dogs.
We have a problem
living in a
getting
really
people to
small
watch
house.
our 2 dogs and 4 kids, and you want to add a
Come
cat
on, people,
to the mix.
help us. So the reason that we can't have a cat is because of other people. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Cat Lady. What a cute game. It even says in here that it's feline fun.
Yeah, because
players.
they're going to put puns on it because it's a cat.
Yeah.
Cat people like puns.
This is a really cute card game. It's got little cubes. Well, I was pleasantly surprised. It's like a combo deal where you're trying to get these cards to like feed
Got some-
cats. You have to feed your cats. If you don't, you get
Yeah,
negative
set
points.
collection. It's got some resource management. Put out cards. You collect cards. You get cats. You have to feed the cats. If you don't feed the cats, you get minus points.
Yeah, I did
If you
real
have
bad.
too much food, then you get minus points. A lot of really neat little aspects. At 2 players, it plays excellent at 2 players.
Yeah.
It's just a
I thought it
silly,
was gonna be
fun,
dumb,
quick game.
but nah.
No, I didn't think it was going to be dumb. But I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Same. I think
it's
the same
nice
thing.
to have a refreshing, quick game that
and
gives
we don't
you
have
some
anything
meat.
that is cat themed. And somebody asked me how the theme was for it being a cat game. I think it's great
think
because
it's
the
fine.
combos are like you're trying to get catnip and toys and yeah.
I mean, it all
think
works
it's a
together,
good-
sure.
Sure.
Like how you get them and why you're getting them, I'm not sure mean anything to the theme,
No.
but you know.
yeah.
But good, it's good. It's cheap, and I would definitely recommend it for
It's
just a quick
affordable, Randy.
filler,
It's not
2 to 4 person game. Very good.
Yeah. I think the same thing.
Cat lady, not dog man.
No, cat
If
lady.
there's such a thing.
And also, we still might get a cat. Bye.
No.
Bye.
No.
Hello guys, it's Cardboard Rhino and welcome to one more Rhino Says Yes. Today I cannot wait to show you one of the most green games out there, created by one of the best game designers out there in a gorgeous redesign of an older version. It's of course CO2 Second Chance. CO2 Second Chance is all about creating sustainable energy through clean sources and preventing the irreparable damage of pollution on the planet. Each player takes on the role of a CEO of an energy company responding to government requests for new green power plants. The goal is to stop the increase of pollution while meeting the rising demand for sustainable energy and, of course, profiting from doing so. As something that affects all of us, if the pollution isn't stopped, it's game over for all players, so they have to work together in a way. There's a purely co-op mode, but also a semi-co-op one where you compete for victory points. We have regions on the board, and each region starts with a certain number of carbon emission permits, the CEPs. These CEPs are granted by the United Nations, and they are spent whenever the region needs to install the energy infrastructure for a project, and they can be bought and sold on a market, influencing the price of it during the game. There's also scientists hired by each company, and they are sent to energy summits to promote global awareness and allow companies to share a little of their expertise on different types of energy while also learning from others. In your turn, you can take any of the executive actions and one of 3 main actions, each representing part of the process of putting up a power plant, as in propose the project, build the infrastructure, and then finally build the power plant, for which you can use infrastructure built by another player. The first part of the project gives you grants and rewards, and the last part is more costly but compensates you with victory points and possibly gaining control of that region's energy supply, giving you access to their CEPs. The CEPs, the money, the power plants that you've built, the United Nations goals you've completed, company goals you've met, and expertise you've gained all give you victory points, which represent your company's reputation. And having the best reputation is the goal of the game, and of course, to save the planet. CO2 Second Chance, compared to the old version, has completely new iconography, more streamlined mechanics, and upgraded components. It also offers a full co-op mode and a solo mode. For me, it's simply a masterpiece of modern board games. The topic is a very complex one, but it's beautifully expressed in the system. It makes a lot of thematic sense, and it gives you meaningful choices to make. I also like that the equilibrium is very fragile, just like our ecosystem. It's not a game for everybody, of course. There's quite a lot of parameters to measure while you're playing, but it's actually a relatively easy game to teach. The rulebook is really well done, and the player aid as well. All that being said, as you've already guessed, Rhino says yes to CO2 Second Chance. It's definitely worth a look.
All right, so what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? I'm going to be reviewing several games, not as many as I normally do, but I try to do some more grandiose style ones. Like, for example, I'm taking a look at the new modular board for Scythe and Wacky Races and Triora. I'm doing a top 10 list, top 10 flora games with flowers and trees and such. I also am talking about Dice Tower Con and a lot of the events and things we're going to be doing there. So if you're coming, you'll want to see that. I'm going to do a video on writing excellent rule books. Things that basically I'm going to point out things I think that are good in rule books. And when I read a good rule book, I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'm glad this was in there. Also, of course, reviews and live stuff like I mentioned from the other guys will be going up over the course of this week, and our own podcast. So I want to try to mention other podcasts on the Dice Tower Network. Today we'll talk about Board Game Design Lab. They interview different people in the industry, so you want to learn about board game design. I mean, this is always kind of a fascinating subject to me, to hear the people who actually do it and why they do it. So you can find their podcast and many other podcasts at DicetowerNetwork.com.
Hi, we're Board Game Opinions. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Steve.
I'm Amy.
I'm Mark.
And this is our speed quiz, where contestants are attempting to guess as many games as they can in a certain category. And this week's category is train games. Now, we've had to go all the way down to the top 1,000 to get enough of these. And even then, there's only 25 games. I am including different versions of the same game as separate entries. Otherwise, we wouldn't have very many games at all. But yeah, any kind of train game you can think of. It's again 2 points if I've not played it, or 1 point if I have. And we're going to start with Amy.
Trains.
Yes.
Ticket to Ride.
Yes.
Ticket to Ride Europe.
Yes.
Russian railroads.
Yes.
Ticket to Ride Markland.
Yes. That one's there.
Ticket to Ride Nordic countries.
Yep.
Colt Express.
Yes.
Ticket to Ride Europe.
Have we got that?
Great Western Trail.
No.
Ticket to Ride New York.
I don't know why that doesn't count.
I thought it would.
Steam. Sorry, New York does count.
Oh.
I don't know why the...
Why it does.
Yeah, Great Western Trail
Yeah.
doesn't count. Steam counts, yes.
Brass.
No.
Ooh,
I'll open it up to the floor.
Railways of the World.
Yes.
Railroad Revolution.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Transamerica.
Yes.
Trans-Europa.
No.
No.
Transamerica.
Trains,
just-
the Japan one that I can't, with the bullet train on the
I'll
front.
give you that. Trains Rising
That's
Sun.
the one.
Oh.
Just a few seconds
German
left.
railroads.
American
no.
Railroads.
No.
And Pandemic Iberia.
No.
Oh,
That's a good guess,
that's a
then.
good
1837.
1864.
1814. 1862.
No.
1854. 53. 51. 50.
None of those. And that's time. Right, give me a second to top the scores. Alright, I've added up the scores. Steve's got 4, Amy's got 5, but Mark got a whopping 9. He always seemed to pick it up, so I've not played. He was very well there. There were some 18XX games in there. You could have 1830, 1846, or 1856. None of the others are high enough. You could have had Age of Steam, Coal Baron, Railroad Inc., Snowdonia, Union Pacific. So yeah, there's a few possibilities they could have got there. Did you get any that they missed? Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
My last segment, I talked about Welcome To. This time, I'm going to talk about another roll and write favorite of mine, the Castles of Burgundy 2 dice game, coming up. Hi, Stella from Meeple University. So, the sharing of my favorite roll and write games continues. I like the Castles of Burgundy board game. And when I found out that there is the roll and write version of it, I immediately give it a go. You don't need to play the Castles of Burgundy board game or know the game to enjoy the dice game. But if you know the board game, then this dice game has got that similar feel to the board game. Game is divided into 3 rounds, where you score each round. The goal is to complete your area by rolling the dice and select the area to complete. The quickest as possible to score the highest points, because most of the points is getting worse in the later round. So you roll 5 dice. 1 will determine the number of turns, the other 4 will dictate which number and color you can mark off of your player sheet. You get bonus for each area you complete, which can be used to mitigate your dice results in later turns. Really nice game. One of our go-to games for filler or after heavy strategy games. After playing this game a few times, I realized that the strategies are deeper than the rules. The what and when to complete an area. Do you complete the smaller area first to get the bonus? When to use the bonus, and so on. So if you like the Castles of Burgundy board game and want to scratch that itch of the game but don't have the time or quite the brain yet at the time, then the Castles of Burgundy the dice game is a good replacement for it. So thanks for watching. Next one, I will cover my next roll and write favorite, Game Sean Clever. See you next time.
All right, so what's getting added to the Dice Tower library this week? Well, the new Heroic Unlock Adventures. One of the nice things about Unlock is we can put these in a library and people can keep playing them over and over again. The Game of 49, you may never have heard of this game from Breaking Games, but it's actually a really interesting, light game of bidding for different spots on a grid. I really like it. Cave Troll, this is the classic game. I think this is the 3rd or 4th edition of this one from Tom Jolly. And we have Enchanter's Overlords. I talked about this game this past week, reviewed it, enjoy it a lot. I think the component quality could have been better in some spots, but this is the best version of it. Iberian Rails. I'm not a fan of this series, Chicago Rails and stuff, but I know a lot of people do enjoy them, so it's going in. Another copy of Sagrada, because people like Sagrada. Why would I not put it in? Cerebria. I heard that this expansion balances the game out to some degree, gives you a 3rd faction. Forces a balance, but why not put in the library? And then Sonar Family. Captain Sonar is a very popular game, so I figured I'd put in the lighter version also. And that's what we added to the library this week.
Oh.
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Hi everybody, my name's Jonna and I want to share with you a new game that I've been playing. It's not the newest thing out there by any means, but it's new to us and I've been enjoying it quite a lot. It's called Alien Artifacts. And this is the pretty box.
I think this game is above average, but it's not gonna be mind-blowing.
It's not mind-blowing, but it's fun. It's
Yeah,
super
it's fun.
fast.
It's really fast.
And it's enjoyable. I love the card flip. I love games that make you feel like a tarot card person. Like this, and ooh, I got to do this, and ooh.
I don't get that vibe at all, but
I love it.
we only have played it 2-player, and the box says it takes an hour to play, and we played it a few times, so now like we know what we're doing
like
a little bit.
35 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes to play.
Yeah.
Like it is really fast.
I love the theme of it. It's like they say that it's a spiffy, like streamlined 4X game.
I don't think they actually
which-
say that on the box. I don't know where you're getting that from.
4X experience in only
it does
1
say that on the box.
hour.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm not sure
nailed it.
I get the 4X
So,
experience. Maybe
It's not an
3X.
experience. It's. I feel like it's theme. It's the theme of
Yeah.
expanding and conquering
Getting
all
spaceships.
in the universe, which I like.
Getting
a lot.
spaceships.
Yeah,
getting
and
technologies.
different factions,
It's
different
much
races.
heavier on the technology side of things than the the going out and conquering side of things. It'll stay in our collection, but it's not a game that I am as anxious to get to the table as she would be, because I feel like when I go to play
He's
this game,
bored with it already.
I
I
kind of
like
like
it.
know what my turns are going to be. I know
It's
what I'm
fun.
going to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not really thinking a whole lot, and maybe I'm not. Maybe I should be thinking more, but I feel like I do all right when I'm not thinking that hard.
Yeah.
I do well enough to win. Sometimes. Check it out. If you see it for sale, you should definitely
It's a
pick
good
it
buy.
up. Give it a
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for watching.
try. Bye.
What are you gonna do?
I can't make any more points, so I'll just trade in so I can end the game.
Don't end the game.
Boom. Game's ended.
No. Wait, do I get to go again?
No.
Why? Oh, can I just go one more time?
No.
So one of the things that I find interesting is expansions. Right now, I'm working on sorting out games in a library all the time. There's just so much going on. We have, for example, I said that later on this week, I'm going to be reviewing the Scythe modular board. And so to do that, I got out Scythe. And of course, with Scythe, I have the Airship expansion and the next, the Extra Factions expansion and the Rise of Fenris expansion and the extra cards and this and that and then the big box, and it's all in there. And I wonder sometimes what games I don't need all that stuff for. So there are a lot of times where I talk about an expansion, I'll say this expansion is essential, to the point where I would have a hard time playing the base game without it. Examples of this might be Dominion. The base game is fine, I guess, but I want to play with all the cards that are out there. Or Champions of Midgard, which is a fine game, but after playing Valhalla expansion, I was like, I'll never play without this again. Other times, with all those expansions and all this stuff, sometimes I might say, you know what, just the base game and taking out all this extra training stuff might be a little easier. Like Eldritch Horror, for example. There's a ton of content for that game. A ton. But sometimes it's just easier to play just the base game. And I'll pull out a game. Anachrony might be another good example. There's already a ton of stuff going on in Anachrony, and maybe I don't want to add in all these different expansions and modules. I mean, I'm getting the next module for Anachrony, but there's all these expansions, and sometimes you'll pull a game out, and a game that was like, this is a good game, now becomes, this is a good game. And especially if you're playing with people who haven't played with all that stuff, they're like, oh, I made a terrible mistake, I need to get out. And you're like, no, we're only going to play with this part of it. And so getting back to basics. So it's kind of interesting to me because I'm building a new Dice Tower library, and as I'm putting this together, I am thinking, okay, so I have this Scythe big box, everything inside it. But maybe people just want to play Scythe. So maybe I need to get another copy of Scythe and just have Scythe by itself. And what games do I need to do that for? You know, what games have gotten too big for their britches? I put some games in the library for the Dice Tower Retreat that no one pulled out because it was like, you need to pull out all 5 boxes for this. Okay, I'll look at something else. And I understand that. Sometimes there's just too much. You want to play the new Batman? Have fun. I brought it in a wheelbarrow. And so because of that, I think sometimes it's okay to get back to the basics. Even now, I'm looking across the room, there's Memoir 44. Later on this week, I think Sam's going to be playing this live, or he's playing it, or he's already played it live as of you seeing this video. And there's a lot in the Memoir bag. There's so much stuff. And when you pull it out, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's for that scenario, this, here is the base game. So I'm kind of interested in what you guys think about that. That's kind of an unusual thing, right? Where we have just the base game and the expansions had so much more. Now sometimes it doesn't matter, right? I have an extra deck of cards, some more cards, put it in a deck, don't even notice. Eldritch Horror. I said I don't want to play with all the new stuff, but the new decks, you put them in, you don't notice. It's when you bring in that extra board and the extra tokens and the extra stuff that it starts to feel a little bit more overwhelming. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about today. Sometimes we need to get back to the basics. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. Wait, there's still more show.
On today's episode of Charlie's Quick Reviews, we're going to be looking at The Settlers of Catan. Wait, you've never played The Settlers of Catan? You've played a version that just says Catan or Catan for those dumb people who say it? Are you telling me you've never played The Settlers of Catan?
Charlie, gaming's what he do. It's time for his favorite segment, Charlie's Quick Review.
Are you kidding me? You've never played this? You haven't played? What kind of rock you live under? You never played this? What? Who are you? Pop for you. See, now it's kind of 80. I don't want to do that. Settlers of Catan, Settlers of Nakna, Smugglers of Mataka, Smeagers of Mugadoo. Never played Takani Tuku Tuku Tuku. Snackers of Nagatak. Huh? Wait, you never played this game? Wait, you never played this game? Wait, you haven't played? Wait, Settlers of Catan? Wait, let me get this straight. You haven't touched Catan? The place where the settlers go? Your version just says Catan? You don't even settle it? What? You haven't sheeped it up? You haven't had sheep or wood? Wheat? You haven't fought for rocks? Or mined for bricks? What? You haven't played The Settlers of Catan? What world do you live in? Wait, no, but seriously, you've never played The Settlers of Catan? Settlers of Catan? Schmeagles of Catanuga? Snaggers of Catakan? played it? I feel sorry for you.
You haven't missed much.
I'm done. I can't go anymore. I'm out. Bye.
You haven't played Catan?
Hello, it's Matthew from This Game Is Broken. This is Dead Last section I do on this here board game breakfast once every time I get the chance. So, I went to UK Games Expo recently. I just wanted to do a very brief look at how much I enjoyed the convention. And I just feel as though there was a general air of pleasantness that's surrounded everything this year. People seem to be in good moods, more so than normal. Vendors were just really smiling. No one was like crawling to grab you. It was just people being pleasant. I demoed a lot of games this year. I never normally demo. I normally look at their games and go, yes, that's a game, and walk off. I think the reason I enjoyed it so much was because I tried harder to talk to people. And that sounds silly because a lot of the times, but I do go to conventions and just exist in that space without really interacting with people if I can possibly. I played loads of demos this year. I never normally do that, and it was just really fun. People were so passionate, and it's just a great environment for people just to be themselves. And that's really special, I think. I think that's the thing to love about conventions, is that you can just go there and be open and enjoy the things that you enjoy. It's made me excited about more conventions this year. I have a tough time, I think, sometimes enjoying things, in conventions especially, because there's just lots of people, which doesn't bother me too much. I just don't want to be near them. But I think that's a good thing, and the future's bright, convention-wise. If all the conventions this year can have the same energy as UK Games Expo, then I think it might be a good year. Anyway, I'll see you again next time. Bye.
And that is it for another show, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I'm really glad that you guys choose to take your time and watch Board Game Breakfast each week. Don't forget, we have a companion Board Game Breakfast every Thursday, which is live, but very similar to this show. And if you're like, where's my favorite contributor? They might be on that show, because they jump around from show to show. There's also the news in that particular show, and I do a short little news segment called Dice Tower Digest each Thursday. So I would recommend those a lot. But anyway, I'm super glad that you guys are with me. I also am super glad that my wife has stuck with me for 20 years. So I'm going to take a few days off here. I apologize that my content's going to be slightly down, but I'll jump right back into it when I get back. But we're going to go to Korea for a few days and then head to that convention. If you're going to be at ConCon, I look forward to meeting you guys. And Dice Tower Con is so close, guys. It's going to be amazing. Some of you may be sitting there going, I really wish I was going to Dice Tower Con, but it's too late. But it's not too late for Dice Tower Retreat, which is even more amazing in some ways. I mean, it's not big and grandiose, but it's small. You want to play games and just play great games. This library I've been talking about building, it's going to be fully unveiled at Dice Tower Retreat for the first time. So be there and just play games. It's going to be fantastic. Either way, even if you can't make any convention, and the only way you'll ever communicate with us is by comments underneath, I appreciate that. You know, some of us will never cross paths, but I do read your comments. I read every comment on every video, and I appreciate all of them. Thank you guys so much. Now it's time to go off with my wife.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff, in stock, at CoolStuffInc.com.